Right now at 6 o'clock, a historic chapel in Hartford will soon be reduced to rubble. Brooke Griffin joining us in a couple of minutes with a live report.
Tenants speaking up in New Haven after they say several people were evicted out of retaliation. What their union says happened.
And a warning for parents: be careful when posting back to school pics. The advice from police to keep your kids safe from scammers and predators.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good Wednesday morning. First at 6, another beautiful day on tap. So get outside if you can and enjoy it. We're glad you're starting off your morning with us. I'm Erica Arias.
I'm Keith McGilvery. Just taking a moment. You matched the skyline beautifully this morning. Your colors.
So, yeah.
I didn't get the memo. That looks stunning. Keith McGilvery as Tim takes a little time off. Want to get you caught up on your forecast as we say good morning.
I love your time.
To Matt Scott.
I love the color, but I'm wondering what we'd have to
Chartreuse.
have weather-wise in the sky for it to match that. And
Nothing?
if we do, the weather's the least of our concerns. Good morning to you. Good to have you along. Right, yes. It's sponsored by Slime Time Nickelodeon. That's right, Erica. There you go. Another fine day. Here's what you need to know before you go. Rain coming in tomorrow. Today is fine. Tomorrow late we'll see some rain and could be some heavy stuff into Friday. We're watching the tropics. Boy, did they light up quickly, and we're going to talk about the latest on Franklin coming up. Cloud and radar perspective is fine. Just a few fair weather clouds overall in northeasterly flow. Temperatures not bad, between 52 and 61. Our lucky 61 in Bridgeport, but our dew points still on hold around 50, give or take 1 or 2. So quite comfortable and staying that way again, second day in a row. Temperatures still struggling though. They're going to get into the upper 70s, maybe a couple of bank clock thermometers say 80, but no big heat, no big humidity, no rain for now. We'll talk about the rest of the week and the all-important weekend. That's all coming up in just a few minutes. Symphony always likes to say good morning sunshine. Today she's backing it up with the actual sun. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning to you. It's going to be a beautiful start to the day out there. A nice one to maybe roll with the ride with the windows down and play a little Bill Withers. Lovely day, something to get your morning going. All right, let's check out what's happening on the board here. We are accident free so far in the 6 o'clock hour. Checking out the Hartford drive times this morning. Smooth sailing on 91 north and south and 84 west this morning as we take a live look at the city of Hartford this morning. Beautiful start to the day out there as folks make their way in and out of the capital city. Down in New Haven, a little bit of a slowdown on 95 south heading into Bridgeport. That's going to take you about 27 minutes. And Fairfield County, smooth sailing for now, but we know this area tends to clog up throughout the morning. I'll have another update at 6:30.
Tiffany, thanks so much. Oh, this morning, a historic Hartford chapel is set to be demolished following years of vacancy and also vandalism.
The Deborah Chapel sitting in a cemetery at Ward and Affleck Streets. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin live at the site this morning with why leaders say the building, Brooke, needs to come down.
Well, that building, the Deborah Chapel, is 137 years old, but in just an hour, it is going to be torn down. Now, leaders say that's because it's become a hazard for the people living in and around this neighborhood. The chapel inside the Congregation Beth Cemetery was constructed in 1886 as a Jewish mortuary. But when the first Jewish funeral homes were then built in the 1940s, the mortuary became less used. The chapel has been vacant since the 90s. Leaders say it's become a spot for vandalism and break-ins, making it dangerous. The owners put the building up for sale for only $1 back in 2008 with the caveat that the buyer has to relocate the structure to another piece of land. None of those offers were qualified, and eventually they got the approval to demolish the building. Now leaders say they'll have more space for other people to be buried here in the future, especially those who wish to be buried near their family members. The congregation says some of the bricks will go to its old synagogue and also be available to see at the Charter Oak Cultural Center in Hartford. And of course, there is going to be a memorial that's also put in the place here. The congregation tells us that they want everybody to be able to remember the important work that was once done here. Live in Hartford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, that's something we will continue to watch throughout the morning. Brooke, thank you for that.
Well, happening today, a tenants union in New Haven is set to rally, calling out what they say are retaliatory evictions.
Yes, so more on this. The group behind the rally, the Blake Street Tenants Union, made up of members who live in properties owned by Ocean Management. Fox 61's Angela Bavard live in New Haven with more on the issue some residents say they're facing. Angela, good morning.
Keith, Erica, good morning. And that rally is set for this afternoon. That will take place over at the Ocean Management Building. Now, the union says that Ocean is trying to raise the rent on dozens of tenants here at the Elizabeth Apartments by 30%. And despite negotiations that were promising, Ocean ended up filing a no-fault evictions to about 15 households. And despite that rent hike, after that rent hike, the union says it did meet with reps from Ocean 3 times to address what they say are issues with maintenance, communication, rent increases, and content of leases. The union says it was encouraged by those meetings, but days later, it says Ocean filed those no-fault evictions. The union calling that move retaliation for forming, advocating, and trying to negotiate a fair lease. The Blake Street Tenant Union formed last year and became the first municipally recognized tenant union in the entire state. Many of the members are long-term tenants who have lived in their homes for years, even decades in some cases.
If we get this increase, like I'm going to be paycheck to paycheck, money's going to be tight, I'm going to be, crossing things off my grocery list. So ultimately our goal is to have an influence that's big enough that we can't be ignored.
And Fox 61 did reach out to Ocean Management for a comment last month when a new union was formed with tenants from another property under their management. We also reached out this morning trying to get a comment on this rally set for later this afternoon. Still waiting to hear back on that front. We are live in New Haven this morning. I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Angela, we know you will work your sources throughout the morning. We will check back in at 7 o'clock, just about 7 past the hour now, and a child is dead after getting hit by a car in Danbury. This all happening in a parking lot on Shelter Rock Road just before 2 yesterday afternoon. Police say the child taken to the hospital where they later died. Officers have not identified the victim. One neighbor giving his thoughts and prayers for the family.
It's ridiculously sad. I have 2 children of my own, and I can't even imagine what the parents are going through at the moment. My thoughts and prayers go out to them. Poor child, had a whole long life ahead of them.
We feel the same way here. Police saying the crash appears at this point to have been an accident. Obviously, if we learn anything new on this throughout the morning, we will keep you updated.
2 corrections officers are recovering this morning. Authorities say an inmate stabbed the officers at Garner Correctional Institution in Newtown. The Department of Corrections says 35-year-old Joe Baltus, who's serving a 96-year prison sentence for a stabbing death in 2006, used a sharpened toothbrush to attack the officers. It happened just before 8:30 yesterday morning. Officials say one officer was stabbed in the neck and the other in the torso. Both were rushed to the hospital. The union representing correctional officers is speaking out. And the union says a law that took effect last year makes it more difficult for officers to protect themselves and other inmates.
A lot of the tools that we were able to utilize to control the inmate population have been taken away. And when I say tools, these are, tickets that we can write, some sanctions that we can write. Now the inmate population understand that. There's no real consequences to their actions, and staff are just fed up.
Now, since the law took effect, assaults on correctional staff in the state have nearly doubled, according to data collected by the state. Both corrections officers are expected to make a full recovery. Baltus has since been moved to a maximum security facility in Suffield. Happening tonight, candidates seeking the Republican nomination for president are expected to take the debate stage.
They are indeed. 8 candidates will be in the spotlight in Milwaukee, all of whom have met donor and polling qualifications to be on the stage. They're Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, Tim Scott, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, Vivek Ramaswamy, and Doug Burgum, as well as Asa Hutchinson.
Republican frontrunner former President Donald Trump will not be in attendance. He's skipping the debate. He says making an appearance would only help the competition. Trump is expected to surrender tomorrow at the Fulton County Jail. He and 18 others are facing charges in connection with an alleged plot to overturn the 2020 election. And this includes attorney John Eastman and bail bondsman Scott Hall. Both turned themselves in yesterday. Eastman has spoken out against the indictment, saying that it should never have been brought.